this video we are going to start a discussion on preterm labor. So what is actually preterm labor? If any pregnant female delivers a baby, okay, like before the normal time, like you can say less than 37 weeks, like that. So that is called as preterm labor. So let us start with this. First we need to discuss something about fetal lung maturity test. So we need to understand when the fetus lung will mature. Okay, so for that we need to do different tests. So for determining the lung maturity of fetus, first we need to do amniocentesis. So amniocentesis is usually done in third trimester. Amniocentesis is a process where you take some amniotic fluid and that you need to test in the third trimester. So on amniotic fluid, do the lung maturity test. Okay, and the next test which you do is lecithin test. Lecithin is to sphygmomyelin test. If you see this ratio of lecithin to sphygmomyelin, if this ratio is greater than or equal to 2, then you can say the lung got matured. Okay, and if this lecithin by sphygmomyelin test is less than or equal to 2, then you will say that lung is not matured. Okay, so now coming to another test, that is phosphatidyl glycerol in amniotic fluid. So another thing which you do is phosphatidyl glycerol in amniotic fluid, you will check for this. Okay, so if it is present, then the lungs are matured. If it is absent, then the lungs are not matured. Okay, so the best test to determine the lung maturity is this phosphatidyl. So it is a best test among all these tests. Okay, so this test, especially if you do in any female, or in a normal female or in a diabetic female, the lung maturity of the fetus, to understand this, the best method is phosphatidyl glycerol in the amniotic fluid. Now coming to the another test, that is the lamellar body test. So lamellar body test is where lamellar bodies are counted, which are lamellated phospholipids, which represent the storage form of surfactants. What is lamellar body? It is a storage form of surfactant. You know that if surfactant is present, then the lung has matured. So if we check for the lamellar bodies, it means that the lung has got matured. So especially this is present in type 2 pneumocytes. So it is secreted in amniotic fluid and its size is approximate to the platelet size. Okay, so if the lamellar count is less than 15,000 international units, then you will say lung is not matured. And if the values are greater than 50,000, then you can say the lung has got matured. Then you may get doubt, like if the values are between 15,000 to 50,000, then what we need to do? It is indeterminate. Okay, because we can't say, we are saying above 50,000 lungs has matured, below 15,000 lungs has not matured. So in the range between 15,000 to 50,000, we can say still it is indeterminate. Now coming to another test, that is shake bubble test. Okay, in this shake bubble test, this is also called as Clemens test. So here what we do is, actually it's a bedside test where we'll mix the amniotic fluid with the alcohol. Okay, and shake this. If the bubbles are formed, then you can say lungs are matured. So bubbles are there, then you say lung has got matured. Okay, so according to bubbles. Now coming to another test, that is the Nile blue sulfate test. Okay, Nile blue sulfate test. So in Nile blue sulfate test, what we do is we take the amniotic fluid and we mix it with a reagent. The reagent here we use is Nile blue sulfate. So the reagent is Nile blue sulfate dye. Okay, we use this Nile blue sulfate dye and we mix this with amniotic fluid. And if the amniotic fluid here has skin cells, so what to do with the skin cells to understand lung maturity? In this skin cells we have a phospholipid of lung. So if this value is greater than 50% of orange color, then we can say lung got matured. So this is the test we do. Okay, so I'm saying the principle of this. Amniotic fluid contains fetal skin cell. So if the fetal skin cell contain phospholipid, then it will turn orange. So it is presumed that if the skin cells have phospholipid, then they turn lungs cells into orange, right? So then lungs will have also phospholipid. So that is the reason what we do here. Now coming to the last two more tests we have to see the lung maturity. The sixth test which we use is phosphatidylcholine. Okay, in this test, if phosphatidylcholine in the amniotic fluid, okay, choline in amniotic fluid, if it is greater than 500 nitroglycerol per ml, then you will say the lungs are matured. Okay, and next coming to another test, that is optical density test. Optical density test is where optical density is greater than 0.15 at 650 nanometers. It indicates lungs are mature. Okay, optical density, where optical density is greater than 0.5, then you can say lungs are matured. Now let us discuss our main topic is preterm labor. So preterm labor, the onset of labor, if it is less than 37 weeks, okay, this is called as preterm labor especially. Okay, and this preterm labor is in turn divided into two types, that is early preterm labor and late preterm labor. Early preterm labor is when the labor is less than 34 weeks, then it is early. If it is between 34 to 37, then you will say it's late preterm labor. So what are the causes? The most common cause of this preterm labor is idiopathic. That is, the cause is unknown. Okay, and the infection, other causes may be like infection, especially the infections of asymptomatic bacteriuria, bacterial vaginosis. Okay, and other reasons may be over distension of uterus. So of course, if the uterus will get over distance, then high chance of labor, right? So this is seen in the case of twin pregnancy and also in the case of polyhydramnios, right? And any placental abnormalities, because of that also there will be preterm labor, right? And if there is APH, or if there is premature rupture of membranes. Remember, the most important risk factor is previous history of preterm labor. So most important risk factor is previous history of preterm labor. Already if the patient is having previous history of preterm labor, then now also they may have chance. Okay, so how to predict that they may have chance? You should immediately do TVS, that is transvaginal scan, and if the cervix length, now you need to see the cervix length, and if the cervix length is less than or equal to 2.5 centimeter, then again there is a chance of preterm labor in this present pregnancy also. So how to prevent this? So the prevention is just give progesterone to her, and if possible you should do cervical cerclage. So you know cervical cerclage surgery, where it's done in cervical incompetence, right? Here there is any history of greater than or equal to 2 centimeters length, or especially in second trimester you see consequent to painless abortion in previous history. She may have painless abortion, or you say any preterm labor in the previous history, then you can confirm to do cervical cerclage without doing any USG now. Okay, but if there is any history of first or second trimester abortion or preterm labor, now you are unable to find out, so now you need to do USG, and in the USG if the cervix length is less than 2.5, then you should go for cerclage. So in the you can do cervical cerclage according to two findings. One is according to older history and one is according to the USG. So if the older history, they are saying already cervix length is greater than 2 centimeters, and they're having previous history of second trimester abortion with painless abortion, and in the previous history preterm labor, directly go for cervical cerclage. But here you can see, here there is history saying that in the first trimester there is abortion. So now we are confused whether to do cerclage or not. So now we need to do USG. In the USG, if it is less than 2.5, now you can confirm the cerclage. Okay, this is the process. And remember the thing that the cervical cerclage should not be done greater than or equal to 28 weeks of pregnancy. This is very important. In 28 weeks of pregnancy, we should not do cervical cerclage. Now coming to diagnosis. Okay, so diagnosis, if contraction is greater than or equal to 4 in 20 minutes, or greater than or equal to 8 in 60 minutes, or any of the following, like dilatation of cervix is greater than or equal to 3 centimeters, okay, and length of cervix is less than or equal to 2 centimeters, and if length of cervix is 2 to 3 centimeters. So what to do? You can say here, either contraction is greater than or equal to 4 in 20 minutes, okay, or greater than or equal to 8 in 60 minutes. You should see this contractions of diagnosis, okay, contraction 4 in 20 minutes, 8 in 60 minutes, or if cervix dilatation greater than or equal to 3, if you see the length of the cervix is less than 2, or if the length of the cervix is 2 to 3, then there is a fetal fibronectin protein, okay. Okay, if present, it will lead to preterm labor. So what is this fetal fibronectin protein? Now let us see. Fetal fibronectin protein is an extracellular matrix protein which is between the chorion and decidua, okay, and it acts as a trophoblastic glue. So it is like a trophoblastic glue between decidua and chorion, okay. So when the interface is broken between the chorion and decidua, it appears in the cervicovaginal discharge. So if seen in cervicovaginal discharge, okay, cervicovaginal discharge less than 37 weeks, then it is an indication of preterm labor, or you can say it is PPROM. What is this PPROM? I will discuss it, okay, in this lesson only, but in the next video maybe. So if the test is positive, the value test positive of this fetal fibronectin protein, then the values will be greater than or equal to 50 nanogram per milliliter. So this thing we need to see. So now coming to the problems of preterm labor. So what are the problems which you have in preterm labor? So the problems are like you have fetal lung will not mature. So because of this, it will lead to RDS, that is respiratory distress syndrome. So the drug of choice is Hasten a lung maturity. For that we'll give corticosteroids, okay. And next one, brain is not developed. So your brain is not developed, so there is cerebral palsy. So the drug of choice for neuroprotection of fetus is magnesium sulfate, and should be given to all pregnancy if it is less than 28 weeks or equal to 28 weeks of pregnancy. All pregnancy give magnesium sulfate, okay, less than 28. Now coming to corticosteroids. Corticosteroids are given to all cases of preterm labor Okay, and that we choose dexamethasone, that to 4 injections, that is 6 milligram each 12 hours apart. Okay, you need to do 12 hours gap. And next you have betamethasone, 2 injections 12 milligrams each 24 hours apart. Okay, corticosteroid needed at least 24 hours after the large injection to act. Okay, so at least it needs 24 hours for the action. Okay, so we need to give gap. Now let us okay, we'll stop this video here. We'll start second part with management of late preterm labor.